My name is Isabella Perez, Recreation Leader for the City of Socorro. Thank you for joining today's meeting. Before the meeting begins, we would like to remind our guests to remove all hats and silence all electronic devices. No disruptive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to ejection and possible prosecution.
Hola, mi nombre es Judy Rodríguez, secretaria de Planificación de la Ciudad de Socorro. Gracias por participar en la reunión de hoy. Antes de que comience la reunión, nos gustaría recordarles a nuestros invitados favor de quitarse los sombreros y silenciar todos los dispositivos electrónicos. No se tolerará ningún comportamiento perturbador ni exabrupto y los infractores estarán sujetos a expulsión y posible procesamiento.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro, Texas. It is April 21st, 2026, 5:31 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Thank you. Starting with item number 2, establishment of quorum. Andrew Arroyos,
Here.
David Estrada,
Here.
Osvaldo Reza, absent. Yolanda Rodriguez,
Here.
Rafael Carrillo, absent. Isidro Torres.
Here.
We have quorum with 4 commissioners present. Moving on to item number 3, staff is requesting to move item after item 10. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Staff is requesting to move this item to move this item after item 10?
The consent agenda?
Yes, on the agenda.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Second.
I didn't catch that. Which item number?
Number 4.
Number 4?
Item
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Item number 3.
Open
after
forum.
item number 10. No, not item 4, item 3.
Item
open
3 to move it to the end of the agenda.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought it was for consenting agenda.
Do we have anybody in the public who's going to do item 3?
I'm sorry.
Just our consultant, Able City. There aren't any other speakers who have signed up to speak for open forum.
Okay. Then I maintain my second if you need to hear.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to move item number 3 after item number 10, second by Isidro Torres. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Who was first? I'm gonna go ahead and say Isidro Torres. I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Isidro Torres. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to item number 5, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 1, Block 4, Roseville subdivision located at 340 Ballman Road, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from C1 light commercial to R1 single-family residential to allow for a single-family residential lot. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon, everybody. We'll open public hearing at 5:34.
We don't have anyone.
We will close public hearing at 5:34.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 1, Block 4, Roseville subdivision located at 340 Ballman Road, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from C1 light commercial to R1 single-family residential to allow for a single-family residential lot. Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Yadira. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Julia Rodriguez, planner with the City of Socorro. We'll continue with the next item on the agenda, item number 6. And this is a rezoning request for the property located at 340 Bauman Road. We'll now proceed with general information, beginning with an overview of the property. For legal description, it's a Lot 1, Block 4, Rossville subdivision. The property address is 340 Bauman Road. Property owners are Ruben Munoz and Eunice Almaguer, who are their own authorized representative. Lot size is 25,243 square feet. Zoning, it's a C1, light commercial. Current land use vacant, and future land use is neighborhood commercial. Summary of the request: applicant is requesting approval of property from C1, light commercial, to R1, single-family residential, to allow for a single-family residential lot. And staff recommends approval of the rezoning request.
I'm sorry. We have Ms. Christina Ramirez. She just joined through free conference call. Do you want me to admit her?
Yes, please.
Ms. Christina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Are you here to talk on an item on the agenda?
I was here to listen. I'm going to talk on the one regarding the public hearing request for proposal on the Block 17, Track 21A, Block 17.
Okay, thank you.
That one's later on, right?
Okay, thank you.
So let's begin with the zoning map, in which the subject property is outlined in blue, and the pink shading denotes the C1 light commercial zoning district. The surrounding zone are R1, which is in yellow, and is a single-family residential. C2, it's a general commercial in red, and A1, which is agriculture, and it's in green. And as you can see, with the area being mostly R1, single-family residential. Followed by the future land use map from the Socorro 2040 Comprehensive Plan. The subject property is outlined in red within the, I'm sorry, this is, and the property is within the Rossville subdivision. This subdivision was recorded in October 1984, and is currently has 100 R1 single-family residential lots, 1 R3 high-density residential lot, 4 C1 light commercial lots, 3 C2 general commercial lots. I'm sorry, pardon me, this is the future land use map. So the pink is shading the neighborhood commercial. This is the subdivision map. Okay, so the property is within the Rossville subdivision, and it is outlined in red. And as I mentioned before, it currently has 143 single-family residential lots, 1 R3 high-density residential lot, 4 C1 light residential lots, 3 C2 general commercial lots, and 11 vacant lots. Now we have an aerial image. The property is outlined in blue. The site is currently vacant and located at the intersection of Bauman Road and Bakersfield Road, and is surrounded mostly by residential uses. We have some photos. We have the first one is a view of the property from Bauman Road. The second picture is from the corner of intersection of Bauman Road and Bakersfield Road. Then the next slide presents the public notice map highlighting the area within 200 feet of the property that was notified as required by law regarding the proposed rezoning. And no support or opposition has been received in person, by phone, by mail, or via email. These are the letters, the notification letters that were mailed in both in English and Spanish within those 200 foot around the property. And now this is the concept plan in which shows the proposed building footprints with a total area of 2,553 square feet and demonstrate compliance with the minimum setback requirements for the R1 single-family residential. Summary request is for rezoning approval of property from C1 light commercial to R1 single-family residential to allow for a single-family residential lot. And at this time, staff and the applicants are available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else? No. No?
I don't.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Yolanda Rodriguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 7, public hearing request for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 6, Block 5, Spanish Trail Addition, located at 176 Lanza Lane, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for an existing triplex on the property. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon, everybody. We will open public hearing at 5:43.
We don't have any speakers. Oh, I apologize.
Speak after the item, if you would like.
Yes, we have one.
Yes?
No,
So
but she's the applicant.
she's the applicant? Oh, so, okay,
She's here for any questions.
okay. So we will close public hearing at 5:43.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 6, Block 5, Spanish Trail Addition, located at 176 Lanza Lane, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for an existing triplex on the property. Mr. Ruiz?
Thank you, Aida. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Diego Ruiz with the planner of City of Socorro. The next item is item number 8, 176 Lanza Lane rezoning request. We move on to the general info of the rezoning request for 176 Lanza Lane. Legal description is Lot 6, Block 5, Spanish Trail Addition. The property owner and representative is Cassandra Muro. Lot size is 20,504.34 square feet, 0.4707 acres. The zoning is R1 single family residential. The current land use is residential. Future land use map is the rural residential, RR. Summary of the request is for approval of a rezoning of a property from R1 single family residential to R2 medium density residential to allow for existing triplex on the property. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning. Here is the zoning map showing the property outlined in red and located inside an R1 single-family residential zone. Here's the subdivision map of the Spanish Trail addition, outlined in a cyan color. The property is outlined in red. It was recorded in July of 1970. Currently has 111 R1 properties, 4 R2 properties, 4 R3 properties, 1 C1 commercial, and 1 A1 with 3 empty lots. Here's the future land use map showing the property outlined in red and located inside a suburban residential zone. Here's the aerial image with the property outlined in red, close to the intersection of Lanza and Gallon Lane. Here are the pictures of the existing property of the side and front view. Here's the public notice map of the properties noticed around the 200 feet radius. There is no support or opposition received in person by mail or by phone or via email. Here's the public notice letter sent to the previously mentioned properties. Here's the site plan depicting the existing dwelling, the boundaries, boundary lines of the property, and the existing easements. And here's the floor plan of the existing dwelling. Summary of the request is for approval of a rezoning of a property for R1 single-family residential to R2 medium-density residential to allow for your existing triplex on the property. And now we, staff and the representative is available for any questions.
I just have a question out of curiosity. How long has this been a triplex?
If
You can.
You can come up to the podium and identify yourself. Thank you.
So I don't recall the exact
Can you
date,
please
but
state your name first?
Cassandra Muro.
Thank you.
I don't recall the exact date, but it's been maybe about 3 years, maybe a little bit more.
Thank you. I was just curious.
So and just the rezoning is so that she can be in compliance, right? I mean, it's already there.
Correct.
Did you purchase as is, or did you build it?
No, we built it.
You built it. Did you, I see a floor plan, and so I guess my question would be, did you pull a permit to build it?
So that would be a question for my dad and my ex-partner, but it is my understanding that there was a permit, however, it wasn't for a triplex, it was for just a single-family home. It was later turned into a a triplex.
So it was originally a single-family unit.
Yes.
So there was a permit issued from the city of Socorro for a single-family home,
home.
but a triplex was built.
What was converted into a triplex?
It was converted into a triplex
I guess it was
Without
like a,
permits.
without permit. So the original permit was closed out, and there was I guess, a certificate of occupancy issued
Correct.
under the original permit for a single family. And then it was converted to a triplex.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
think, was it like, we add another room and add another room as your dad kept going?
Yeah, we thought, so we were actually gonna live there, and then we thought maybe we can get more money out of it, and so we decided to convert it, but we should have gone through the process, and if I would have known there was a process to, I guess, to go about, I would have done it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I apologize for that.
I don't have any more questions.
So how was it that this came out? Did you guys come forward, or did the city go and investigate, or how did it?
There was
how did it
actually
end
a,
up here?
yes, sir. There was actually a letter that I received in the mail.
Okay.
Okay.
So a neighbor called in or something, or what?
No, just a notice of violation.
There was a notice of violation that was issued from the city to the homeowner.
Okay.
So will she have to do any improvements so that it's allowed as a triplex, like any parking lot, or will it just stay as is and just get rezoned?
It would just get rezoned. There aren't any need for any other improvements to the property.
Okay.
But, okay, so like, so following up with your question, are there any inspections that get done on the triplex? Like, for example,
To
Like
issue
fire-
to issue a new certificate of occupancy?
well, to make sure that it's in compliance, and so like the biggest issue would be like, I guess, firewalls, right? Are they needed as per code in something of this size? It's less than 5, less than 4. Are they separate meters right now, or is there one light meter, one water meter, one gas meter?
There's one, yes, just one.
One light meter?
Mhm. Yes, yes, one. One for the entire building. The way we charge is all utilities are included. We don't have separate meters for them.
Okay.
And there's nothing that can come back to the city as far as to if it is used as a triplex or whatnot, and good point that Mr. Estrada brought up, as it having firewalls, if there's ever an emergency or whatnot, and it was approved without having any firewalls, and there's an accident, is there anything that can come back and?
We could go ahead and issue that as a condition to go back and do the inspection and, what do we call it? Affidavit? Affidavit to show that it is in compliance.
So, if a new applicant comes in on vacant land and submits a permit for a triplex or a duplex or anything larger than that, they gotta comply with ponding, parking, landscaping in the near future. And so this triplex, they didn't go through any of that. And so when a new applicant comes in and they gotta provide, for example, engineering for on-site ponding, it's very expensive. And the permitting process and blueprints is very expensive. And so this particular one is flying under the radar and with a slap on the wrist, it seems like. So I don't think it's fair to new applicants coming in and submitting, just to submit a permit to get it approved, it's a lot of money. And so this one got done. I understand what happened, but, well, great, rezoned, and then that's it, and we move on to the next one, but there's no repercussion, are there any fines involved or anything from the city to the applicant?
No, they are working through the process of correcting the issue. The other option would be to deny their request so that they can continue on as a single-family home. They did not go through the process to go to court to get fined. They are trying to work with the city to get this resolved.
Can I ask a quick question to the applicant? Would you guys be willing at least again, like Dave says, it gets pretty expensive to start now, right? Because it's already built. I guess a question is, would you guys be willing to at least look into the firewalls, which is like a big part of when you build duplexes or triplexes or quadplexes? Keep maybe just to a minimum or whatnot on the expenses. I know you purchased it that way or whatnot, but is there something where we can just add to at least, maybe she can come in compliance into just at least with firewalls?
No, it would be, as Mr. Estrada is pointing out, it would be appropriate to adhere to all of the requirements that one would place on a triplex. Those staff can review, again, the codes for the building and the ponding.
I'm sorry.
So right now, we're unaware if this is in compliance with the current code.
No, it has not been inspected.
And the staff recommendation is for approval. Can you give us your reasoning behind the approval? Like why are you recommending approval?
Trying to work with the applicant to assist them in coming forward and trying to address the non-conformance issue.
Okay. So I'm aware of a lot of these properties, not a lot, but I mean, if I could count on, it's probably like 5 that I'm aware of within the neighborhoods that I'm frequently driving through. And I mean, it's the same situation, right? They were built for whatever reason. I checked the zoning, they're not zoned for multifamily and so on. And so I appreciate, I guess, your response, and yeah, we're trying to fix these issues as they're coming up. And so my biggest one is the fire walls are one thing, the safety, but then the second part is it's the expense that other applicants have to incur, but when they do it the right way. And so that's right.
So I have a question. So you said maybe 3 years ago. Are you pretty sure about that date? It wasn't 10 years ago, it wasn't 15
No,
years
no,
ago?
it wasn't 10 years
This
ago.
was 3 years ago? When
Yeah,
we-
more or less.
And was this built by your dad, or was it built by a contractor?
No, it was my dad and
Your dad.
other family members, so we
Another-
didn't
other-
pay
that
a
built it.
contractor.
Okay,
Right, no.
okay.
So I guess my question is, I understand I understand what an awkward, difficult position this is, Ms. Munoz, but my question would be, could we not make sure we do an inspection first and check compliance and then rezone? I understand the reasoning for approving rezoning with condition, but I'm just worried that for whatever reason there is no compliance to code, that condition isn't met, and we're still in a position where it just isn't. Because then we've rezoned with a condition, then we'd have to go back and
No, but-
rezone back to a
understand.
single-family unit.
No, but with the condition being that they meet all the code requirements and that we would need to issue certificates of occupancy in order for them to continue occupying the building. Are they all rented currently?
Yes, I do want to add that we do have fire alarms for the 3 units, and 1 unit is completely, like there's a hallway, so it's separate, it's not attached. So I don't know if there would be a need for a firewall, but it is separate.
So can we make a motion to stipulate that either building inspector go and do an inspection, and then if it qualifies or it meets the criteria, then we can come back and say, okay, I totally understand the compliance part of it, and and it's a good thing that that we do this, but we also have to, like Mr. Estrada said, is to make sure that the safety issue part of your building code is there, okay? And so I think we all have parents that built something, and we all know how that goes sometimes. So I think it's important. So could we make a motion to stipulate that there is a building inspector that goes in and make sure that the building is up to code?
Yes. Would you request that we table this item for 2 weeks to have that information for you
Yes.
before making a decision?
I
If-
think, do we agree that 2 weeks is enough time
I
to
think,
give your
yeah.
building inspector time to do that?
Yes.
Well, my question is to the, what was recommended is if it's done, if we rezone with conditions, it's, so they meet the conditions and it's rezoned. Otherwise, if they don't, it's not rezoned.
Yeah, or
Correct.
that,
So,
it wouldn't have to be tabled anymore,
So
right?
I think I prefer that if we do it with conditions.
And it would go quicker if the
I-
building inspector approves of the condition of the building.
Yeah,
And
so
not come back and say, okay, so if we stipulate today that we make a motion to approve with
with the
the condition that the City of Socorro building inspector will go in and do the inspection and make sure that the building is sound and up to code.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, you could do it either way, which is either table it or do it the way you suggested, which was approve it conditionally, but if there's an inspection and it meets all the requirements, so you can do it either way. But it's probably easier to do it that way versus tabling it, because you still get to
Then it's
just,
just gonna be
Right.
coming back.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so
Is
do
everybody
I
good
make
with
a
that?
motion? Yeah.
Yeah, you can make.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve under the condition that the City of Socorro building inspector will go and do an inspection and make sure that the property building is up to code.
I apologize. What does that mean for me? What do I have to do?
So, I mean, basically, it'll be, they go out and make sure if it's up to code. If it's not, then I'm sure the staff would provide recommendations to bring it up to code.
Okay. So that means, so I heard you guys talking about firewalls. So do I need to do that before the inspector goes out, or?
We'll go out and meet with you up front to take a look at everything and then determine what's needed at that point.
Got it. Okay, so you are giving me the opportunity to fix the firewall situation, and then I come back and then we talk about it again?
Right.
Well, essentially, right now, after this is approved with those conditions, it'll be then you and the staff to meet those conditions so that it can be rezoned, the approval of the rezoning can be done in its final.
Okay.
So that way,
This is also just, this is a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission, would still also need to take this to City Council
Right.
for their approval. But in the meantime, we could probably have those inspections and see what is needed.
And we don't also don't want to discourage you on firewalls. I know a lot of people listen to
That sounds
firewalls and
expensive.
stuff, and I can tell you that there's different ways of accomplishing firewalls.
Okay.
So there's options, okay?
this motion just allows this next process to go with you all having to come back to this commission. So that way you can work with the staff so that it goes to its final step with council.
Okay, and so I have a question. So is this like the first time you guys have this type of situation where it's non-compliant and then you?
No, it's
Because
not.
I just want to, like, was this was this requested? Is there a precedent, I guess, for this? Like, was there a similar case where you guys requested this, or was it just approved? I'm just trying to figure out, because,
In the time I've been here, this is the first time these items have been brought to our attention, but they are worth investigating further.
Right.
Because they are safety risks.
right, and I do understand that, but I am aware of other people who have gone through the process and they've been approved without all of these requests. So I'm just wondering if there is a precedent, and if there is, and why is it that I guess I'm being targeted?
I agree with you, because it's a Socorro, and a lot of these do exist, right? And so how this one came to the attention of the city, I don't know. I would like to know, right? But in an effort to clean up stuff like this, right? I'm not saying the property's bad, right? I'm just saying in an effort to put everything in compliance, It's a matter of people calling in and making the city aware of what's going on, and then the city goes out and issues their citations and so on. So it's a lot out there.
Right.
This
I-
one,
yeah.
in my opinion, it was more of almost, let's say blatant. It was just, you pulled a permit for a single family and then decided along the way to build a triplex without the permit.
Right, and I understand that, but with Ms. Perez mentioning that others have been approved without going through this entire process, why is it that it feels like I'm being targeted for some reason?
I would say send in the addresses to the city of El Paso, to the city of Socorro.
Send a what, I'm sorry?
The addresses, make the city of Socorro aware of the properties that you know of that are not in compliance.
No, not in compliance, that they've been through the process and they've been approved without these recommendations. But I understand the whole safety situation, and if that's the recommendation that you make, I'll comply. But I guess it doesn't seem fair with you guys actually mentioning that others have been approved without going through the process.
Right.
And it was brought by you, not by me.
Well, I think in our defense, I think we don't want you to be discouraged, and we don't want anybody out there in the city of Socorro to be discouraged because they have to come in here and come up to par into being in compliance.
Yeah.
Because we do have some that, there are some that have gone through the ringer because they were not in compliance. So we don't want you to be discouraged. We're giving you an opportunity to get approved so that the city inspector can just go in and make sure, and he will give you either a nay or a yes, and then you can fix those issues. And then you don't have to come back to us anymore. It'll go back to the city council, and they will either approve or not approve.
Right. So, yeah, okay. No, thank you for the opportunity, but it's hard not to feel discouraged when others have been approved without going through this entire process.
I think bottom line is that the goal is that, residents and buildings in Socorro have to be in compliance. And so this is the work right now we're doing to make sure that your property is in compliance for the safety of yourself, your tenants, and just for any future tenants, and for just generally for the city of Socorro.
Absolutely. I understand that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there, do you have a rental insurance policy or an insurance policy for rental property?
Yes.
On this, it's existing?
Yes.
It's in place?
Okay. And I honestly thought for the longest time that we were in compliance because we receive our tax document, bills us separately for the 3 properties.
Tax documents, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, the Central Appraisal
Yes.
District has the Central Appraisal District has a different zoning, and it doesn't coincide with the city of Socorro zoning.
Yeah, and so when I got that letter and I called, that's when I was informed, no, you have to go through the whole process with the city of Socorro. So I would have done it sooner if I would have.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I have a motion made by Yolanda Rodriguez to approve with the condition that the City of Socorro's inspector makes an inspection to the building that meets building code. And second by Isidro Torres. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 9. Public hearing request for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of tract 21A, block 17, Socorro Grand, located at 10199 Socorro Road, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow for commercial development. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon, everybody. We will open public hearing at 6:10.
We have currently 2 speakers. Mr. Arturo Sanchez, if you can please state your name for the record.
My name is Arturo Daniel Sanchez. I live 2 houses away from the property in question. I'm 37 years old. I grew up, went to Escoteras. I know the whole area. My father and family own businesses around that area, and right now I have like direct information that they say that they want to open up a liquor store, and that doesn't go with like the theme of the area that's going on right now. We have Socorro Mission, we have different businesses that are opening up, and it's starting to look nice there. And I think that a liquor store would alter that, it wouldn't go in with everything that's growing in that little neck of the woods there. And so I also heard that maybe you guys could do like a rezoning with qualifications, and maybe they could make it commercial, but I would like to know that they're not gonna make a liquor store, a strip club, something like that, because I'm 2 houses away, and we have businesses of my family that are all around that area, including a Serenity Ranch where they, tend to autism kids and let them pet horses, and it's just growing real beautifully there. And I just don't want to take away from that anymore, or just take away from that by bringing another different type of person around that area that I know that liquor stores usually might bring. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Ruben Perea. If you can state your name for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Ruben Miguel Perea. Thank you all, the commission, for being here and allowing us to speak on our community. I'm a proud 4th generation Socorro resident. That's why we're here. I own a business right next to the proposed location. I already spoke to the applicant today, which was a good opportunity to let my feelings be heard. I'm again under direct knowledge. There might be a liquor store or some type of that business in the future, which again I would be against. I also live down the street on Buford Road, and the stigma that is associated with liquor stores is not very positive. So I'm not against the rezoning it to commercial, because again, I'm a business owner right next to the proposed location. So I am for everybody having a business if they have that opportunity, because I am blessed. So I'm not against rezoning it from residential to commercial. I would just like maybe a condition of a certain type of business that would be allowed in the proposed location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have anyone else.
Okay. So we will close public hearing at 6:13.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Tract 21A, Block 17, Socorro Grant, located at 10199 Socorro Road, City of Socorro, El Paso County, Texas, from R1, single-family residential, to C1, light commercial, to allow for commercial development. Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Yadira. Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Once again, Judy Rodriguez, planner with the City of Socorro. We'll continue with the next item on the agenda, item number 10, and this is a rezoning request for the property located at 10199 Socorro Road. We'll now proceed with general information, beginning with the legal description. This is Tract 21A, Block 17, Socorro Grant. Property address is 10199 Socorro Road. Property owner is Jose Alexandro Lozano, who is acting as their own representative. Lot size is 8,585.676 square feet. It is zone C1, light commercial. The zoning, it's an R1 single family residential. Current land use is residential, then future land use is neighborhood commercial. Summary of this request: the applicant is requesting approval of rezoning a property from R1 single family residential to C1 light commercial to allow for commercial development. And staff recommends denial of this rezoning request. First, we have the zoning map where the subject property is outlined in red. The yellow shading indicates the R1 single-family residential zoning district. The surrounding zone includes an R1 zoning, single-family residential, C1 light commercial, and A1 agriculture. Followed by the future land use map. So the future land use map, the subject property is neighborhood commercial, NC zoning district surrounded by suburban residential. Then we have an aerial image of the property outlining relocated in the intersection of Socorro Road and Beaufort Road. The site currently contains a residential structure and is surrounded by the mix of residential and commercial uses, and it is also located in the historic district along Socorro Road. These are some photos of the property from different angles. The first one is a view of the property frontage along from Socorro Road. Then we had a view of the property right side from Beaufort Road. View of the rear area of the property. On the right side, we have view of the property from the intersection of Socorro Road and Beaufort Road. And at the bottom of the right side, it's a view of the property's left side from Socorro Road. Next, I present the public notice map highlighting the area within 200 feet of the property that was notified as required by law regarding the proposed rezoning. And no support or opposition has been received in person, by mail, by phone, or via email. Followed by the public notice letters that were mailed in both English and Spanish to property owners within 200 feet around of the subject property. Then we have the site plan submitted by the applicant. It shows conversion to C2, but the application, it says a request to C1. The front also shows the front setback, 22 feet 6 inches, and Socorro Road is classified as a minor arterial, and the minimum required front setback is 55 feet. Also, the site plan shows 9 proposed parking spaces, 5 located along Beaufort Road, 3 situated at the rear of the property, and 1 positioned on the front left side of the property. And it also indicates 3 existing driveways, 2 along Beaufort Road, and 1 at the front facing Socorro Road. Another point to consider is that we're also awaiting confirmation from TxDOT regarding a proposed project for the construction of 2 roundabouts from Beaufort Road to Belen Road with an estimated letting date of January 2028. This is still pending for confirmation. So staff decision is based on concerns regarding the limited site size and configuration for the proposed commercial use, as well as the potential impacts related to access, circulation, and safety along Socorro Road. Summary requests is for approval of rezoning, approval of a property from R1 single-family residential to C1 light commercial to allow for commercial development. And at this time, staff and the applicant, Mr. Lozano, available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
I have a quick question. So if it's approved as a C1, which opens up that they can do very different variety of businesses, we cannot dictate as to what is installed there, correct, if it passes to a C1?
Correct.
Okay. And then second, I think that part of the denial from the city was because it might be changing with TxDOT on the width of the Buford Road, and it might impact
Yes.
their business?
Yes. Okay, so what guarantee do we have from the city of Socorro that TxDOT is actually going to go in and work on that road by 2028?
That is what we were trying to confirm with TxDOT.
Okay,
So
so-
there is the
so we don't
project,
have-
the project ID number. They met with staff. I'm drawing a blank on, sorry, when it was that we met. But we reached out to TxDOT and just asking for confirmation.
Okay. And so is the applicant, did he just purchase this property?
Yes, he did. Mr. Lozano is
Yes.
the applicant, and he can answer any questions that you would
Okay,
like to
Can
direct.
you come up to the podium?
Good afternoon. I'm Jose Alejandro Lozano. Thank you for accepting my application here. First of all, let me start with TxDOT. And I was aware of the runabout that they wanted to do on that corner. And I met with the construction inspector manager from TxDOT, Mr. Michael Porras. I met with him about a month ago. As you all know, they have just completed the curbs on that section of Socorro Road.
Sir, can you just make sure to speak into the mic more clearly?
Yes. As you know, they just completed the construction of all the curbs in Socorro Road from the Mission all the way to Wind Down, where the Wind Down restaurant is. They just finished all that. He informed me that they have scrapped the runabout because big semi-trailers could not go around. It's only a one-lane highway. A big semi cannot go around the runabout. It'll be disastrous. They can't. So they scrapped it. I don't know why the city of Socorro still believes that they can do it. I was told, and I called TxDOT, and they said that it was scrapped. Because, you know, they decided just to do the curbs. They just finished. So how can they have a plan if they already just finished all the curb sites? They're done. Now, that's the TxDOT thing.
And did you just purchase this property?
Yes, we purchased it on, let me tell you the exact date. We purchased it in January of this year.
Okay.
January. As they mentioned, in that area, the next to my property is the cement company, which doesn't show in the map as a commercial property. It's CNR Concrete Services. It's a commercial property. Across the street is commercial property. Across Socorro Road, there's a farm road. It's a farm commercial property. Guadalajara Tacos is there. Coco is there. The following house, it's three breweries, a liquor store, a wine, beer distributor. And all around, I believe that Socorro Road should be a tourist attraction for the city of Socorro. We should be honored and bring in more commerce to our district, being touristically inclined. I believe very much in tourism. And one of my purpose to buying this property is to make something pretty out of that house. This property has been vacant for 20 years or more. It's abandoned, it was open, it was depleted, it was falling apart. And I got the pictures to show you.
Well, I actually saw that property, and it's actually been a relief to see that somebody is actually going in and cleaning it up.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
And working on it. I think you are aware then that there is a historical.
No. I don't know where this is coming from. I'm just getting this property remodeled to rent. I don't know who's going to rent it. I've been approached by a bakery, by, she does fruit cakes. I've been approached by an attorney. In fact, I've been approached by an attorney that does illegal immigration. I've been approached by
just to clarify her question, I think her question was, you do understand that Socorro Road is a historical road and you'll have to meet additional codes of the building facade to be on
Yes, of
Socorro.
course.
Right, to be in compliance.
Right now, we're in the process of going into the what do you call it?
So, okay, so this is actually an agenda item, I believe, for tomorrow?
Yes.
There's a special meeting for the Historical
If I
Landmark
can show you
Commission.
These are the plans that I submitted to the Historical Commission.
And so I'm gonna ask that he allow us to see the elevation plans. I know we're not voting on the elevation plan, but I think it gives insight to the artistic value, the investor with the applicant, what he's trying to do. I think just by looking at the elevations that he's presenting, will help us decide.
Can I ask an additional question of staff?
Yes.
So you did mention that we've seen a site plan for a C2, but is staff saying that the property does not meet, the site plan would not meet compliance for a C1?
For the parking and the access,
And how far?
it is from
Oh,
the,
no, it's just an indication. At the top, it says, proposed residential converted into commercial C2. But it's actually for C1.
But the site plan as it is, does it meet the code? Would it meet the code for C1?
So, okay, so following up, and, okay, so up there it says C2, right?
but it's not for C2.
But it's for
C1.
C2, it's for C1.
But it's for C1.
But whether it's for C1 or C2, this size of lot, it's 8,500 square foot. For an investor to come in and purchase and renovate and do everything that he needs to do at a profit for this size lot, it's very difficult to be able to do that with the existing ordinances for C1 or C2 because of the size of the lot. It's way too small, and so there needs to be a variance in there in when you request for permitting, and the variance comes through zoning board and through city council. But from our perspective, if those variances aren't allowed, then the investor can't come in and renovate a property like this at a profit, unless you have a lot of money and you want to do it because you want to be nice to the city of Socorro, right? But yeah, the lot size is really small. This property has been vacant forever. It's in a historical area, a great commerce area for Socorro, tourist area.
Yes.
And so we have an applicant, an investor who's doing it the right way, coming through the process.
But so my question still remains, does this meet the ordinances for C1? No. Is the answer no?
No.
And it's not. The question is, it's not, and it's impossible without a variance. Because you can't meet your parking, you can't meet your ponding, you'd have to remove the building and start over, basically. But what can you build on 8,500 square feet and still have your parking, your ponding, your landscaping? You can't do it. It's not feasible. It's not profitable. And so we need to approach it from, hey, there's someone coming in here, an applicant, doing it the right way, as opposed to the previous item, right? And there's an applicant who's willing to come in. You purchased in January, you said. You're putting in the money. You're coming through the process, and we need to approach it in a way of how can we help. Number one, by giving variances to the existing ordinances under C1 or C2 or whatever it is that you're asking for.
Thank you. If I may, I can show you some pictures.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
There are, of course, this, you can pass it along. This is the site plan, and it's kind of landscaping. This is these pictures are the not gonna be a big business. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a big business.
I'm sorry, if you could speak into the mic, please.
This is not a big business, like I said. My view is having something like this, more or less. At the end of the day, something like this, like Pueblo style, it's a small business, it's not a big business. You have about 12 parking spaces. I'm not gonna rent it to a big restaurant, no. I'm not gonna rent it to, it's a small shop, pop operations. I don't know who's gonna rent it. I'm not gonna run it, I'm just gonna build it. My passion is to make an old building beautiful. And if it's ever rented, it's fine. If it's not rented, I'm okay with it, okay? I'll leave there. But it's such a nice corner. I just love the idea that having Socorro Road, have you seen over the past week, all the people are coming and walking around there? Texas just put a walk pass right in front of us, so you can turn a light and you can go over, pass from one building business to another. This will complement the whole neighborhood. I'm not thinking about a liquor store. A guy wanted to open up a liquor store. That's not my problem, that's his problem. If he wants to open up a liquor store, he has to come to city council. And if he's allowed to open up a liquor store, that's his business. That's not my business. My business is to just remodel this building, make it beautiful. It is the last thing I'll do. I'm 80 years old. I've been in business for 60 years, and tourism is my main attraction. I do tourist maps for the city of El Paso, for many other cities. And when I saw this property, I was looking for a property in Socorro. I'm from El Paso. I just moved to Socorro 3 years ago. Bought a house in Socorro on Penahi. I bought it through tax sale because it was abandoned. It was depleted, almost like this one, almost as bad as this one. And we remodeled it. It looks like a brand new house. It came from a $42,000 house to a $200,000 house. So the tax you're incurring is quite a difference. Same thing with this house. This is a $40,000, $42,000. Very inexpensive. The house was in total repair. We have to do all the electrical. We have to do all the construction, all the upgrades. Now, of course, we're going to the permits. We already have a permit for the roof because it was already falling. We're going to do that, but we're waiting until tomorrow that they allow me the fascia of the outside. This will connect the roof. Otherwise, I can't do the roof without the fascia. So the outside is going to be finished first, and then we'll do the roof. So once I get the permit from the Historical Commission to proceed, I will proceed. Now, if this council approves the C1, I'm grateful. We'll continue. Obviously, we need small shops in Socorro. We don't need, they just open up a general store, what is it? Dollar General. A huge monster. To me, that's not Socorro, but let it be. I would like to see little shops, mom and pop operations, people that can come from El Paso, from Las Cruces, from everywhere, and forget Mesilla. Let's go to Socorro, let's go to Sanelli, and shop around and walk around and see these beautiful buildings. And I'm part of that. I want to be part of that. Part of making Socorro a nice tourist attraction, little town, if you can call it like. Because where is downtown Socorro? Where is downtown Socorro? Where's the Socorro Avenue? This is it. Let me tell you, this little strip could be it in the future. If we get all the neighbors, all the property owners to fix their properties, remove the chain link fences, get grants to rebuild walls, nice fences, not just chain link fence. Plant more trees, beautify Socorro Road. Texas already did a great job doing that. What about us? It's up to us to fix our properties. Now, with your help, with your assistance, with the city assistance, we can accomplish all this and more. So, I hope that you approve a commercial light zone. Now, the business, that's another thing. If that business owner comes in and applies for a permit, he has to comply. If there's not enough parking for his business, then he's denied. We just want, let's say, a barber shop or a bakery. They don't need a lot of parking spaces, or an attorney. I'm just looking at the facade of the building. Whoever rents is a different story.
Thank you.
I have a final question for staff. Why are we under the impression that TxDOT might still continue with their project?
We haven't received word otherwise. Mr. Lozano is the one who brought that to our attention, and we just wanted to confirm that that was the case. So we have not received any word from TxDOT that that project has been canceled.
Understood.
Yes, we're waiting and confirmation from Martin Sotelo. He is the design engineer.
Thank you.
And so, for city staff, I have a question. Since the property size does not qualify for a C1, what is the minimum requirement for a C1?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, good question.
And if it doesn't meet it, is there a way to, like David said, get a variance for it to conform with it?
Yes, the minimum lot area, it is a 5,000 square feet with public ponding and 10,000 square feet without public ponding.
Okay, so 10,000 square feet without public ponding. So this requires on-site ponding, which,
But is this for a new building or for an existing building?
okay,
So this is existing.
yes. And so it doesn't clarify. The ordinance doesn't clarify for new or vacant land or existing buildings. It makes a clarification between public ponding, like typically what you see in new subdivisions, and then on-site ponding, which this lot would be on-site ponding, right? And so that's where I believe the variances come in. And as a zoning board and as the city council and then staff, I think we really need to look at these from the investor point of view, that it needs to be profitable and feasible. If not, Socorro will end up looking at these properties just sitting there for forever, because you can't do anything else with that property at a profit other than a single family home, right? And who would want to do that? Yeah.
That corner is not a very nice place.
You speaking to the
It's
mic?
highly congested, perfect for business, but, okay, and I think, so the staff is recommending denial because of TxDOT. But let's assume that this passes, and it passes city council, and it's C1, and everything's good, and 5 years down the road, it becomes an issue with TxDOT. It's an applicant owner issue, not a Socorro issue.
Right.
Correct? And you're aware of that. So if TxDOT comes in and says, hey, I need to take a third of your corner,
But,
but that,
realistically.
Sir, can you please speak into the mic?
Realistically, if you know a little bit of traffic, a 2-lane highway cannot have a successful runabout. You will need a 4-lane to make it the fire trucks, the big truck, the rigs cannot go around a runabout. They cannot. They would have to have more lanes, not just 1 lane. It's only 1 lane.
Right,
So it's not
and I think we all understand that, and I think what Mr. Estrada is pretty much asking is, we understand all that. But do you understand that if
Yes, I
it does
understand.
pass,
If
in
that
the
happens-
future, if TxDOT is willing to do all these changes or whatnot, then that would affect you personally?
They'll buy it and they'll do a runabout.
Right, okay.
I'll sell it. It's.
But just to clarify, staff's not denying this request solely for confirmation of TxDOT.
Thank you. No, it wasn't just that reason. It's not meeting the minimum requirements for this C1 and the parking the way it's laid out. The access on the side of the building, it says 13 feet. It just doesn't serve as adequate circulation for the vehicles.
Thank you.
13 feet?
And that's just design, right? So if he were to work on the design and it were to come in compliance with C1, then
Yes, so back to Mr. Estrada's point about the variances, if we want to, would we need to introduce those variances? If we wanted to introduce those variance requests, would we need to repost the item and bring the item back?
Yeah, so if you want certain variances, yes, it needs to go back, be reposted, come back again. There's possibly another way to do it, is if you do it, you can do a conditional approval perhaps, and maybe mandate that the applicant submit a conforming site plan that fits the variance, or fits the requirements. But it sounds like he may need additional room anyway, because he's not gonna fit the requirements. The third option is, if you approve it without any variances, then you'll have to go to Board of Adjustments later to get those variances as well.
So we're looking at rezoning, right, only, but without the variances, and that's why you're asking, do we need to repost it and add the variances? Okay, but if it gets rezoned right now, you would need to come in with a full set of plans for permitting the whole thing. At that point, it's not gonna meet ordinance, and at that point, it would come in for any variances. But the rezoning's could be taken care of right now as is, but when you submit for permitting, your site plan, everything needs to be conforming with ordinances, to meet existing ordinances, or it needs to come in through a variance. Could we not take care of it at that point?
Yeah, it could be done that way as well. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. If you're just looking at the rezoning by itself, you just rezoning it, then later, as he's developing the site plan and as he figures out what he needs for parking or the final plans, at that point, he might need a variance.
And at that point, might have a better idea of who the occupant is and might help in developing the site.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm going to jump off. To the opposite side of the corner, there is already a business there, and it is a small business.
And it's been in existence, we can research that property, but I don't believe that it's,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, they are the owners of that business, so they can tell you how long that business has been
Oh, so you're the
in.
owner. Okay, so they're the owners.
okay, can you come up to the podium, please? Sir?
Okay, my question is, what size is this? If it's a small. Yeah.
Again, my name is Ruben Miguel Perea, and it's Socorro Shamrock. I have my humble insurance in there. My uncle, Fernando Sanchez, owns it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been there since 1932.
Okay.
Can we pull that up on the,
Area?
yeah, like this one, we could pull that up.
So is that a C1?
Yes, ma'am. I
It's a
believe it is
C1.
a C1.
And do you know the size of your lot?
No,
But
ma'am.
again, that's legal non-conforming, that's been in existence for a very
Yeah,
long time.
I don't
This
know
is a
what that
brand-
has-
This is, it's not a new building, but it is a new use, and if you go over a certain percentage of improvements on a property, you then have to bring it up to that code.
Yeah, I don't know what our business has to do with this.
No, she just asked a question about the property across the street.
So just,
Thank
Okay,
you.
and that's a good point. That's a good point, but if, I'm not opening up the previous item, but I'll point out that the previous item had 20,500 square feet. And that one went to R2, and the minimum for a duplex on R2 is 10,000 square foot. Oh, yeah, my bad. Never mind, yeah, because it's 20,000, so, yeah, so you can't fit a triplex on 20,000 square feet, okay.
so I do just have another question for staff, I'm sorry. So the possibility is we're rezoning, unless there's a possibility that the site plan as is was gonna hit a roadblock in the future anyways.
But they can address that at that
At
time
that
by
time.
going to the Board of Adjustments for a variance.
Cool.
Okay, so I agree with Mr. Estrada, is for us to move forward and approve the rezoning to a C1. guess down the road, we can look at it, or it'll go to the Board of Adjustments for a variance.
Is that a motion?
Is there a motion?
Yes, I make a motion.
Thank you.
I second.
I have a motion made by Yolanda Rodriguez to approve, second by Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Now going back to item number 3.
Thank you.
Board, thank you very much.
Thank
One
you.
thing important, with your board, we can continue improving our support.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You can have the, ask the staff after the meeting. And
Going back to item number 3, open forum. We do have currently Ms. Victoria Chavez.
with Able City. We inadvertently left a couple of items off of this agenda. We did have a bit of technical difficulties with our computing system last week, so we do apologize, but we did not want to miss providing the presentation that we had mentioned at our last meeting. So thankfully, Victoria Chavez with Able City is here to go over the Unified Development Code with a little more detail and graphic to assist in us processing the information. With that, I'll pass the podium over to Victoria.
Perfect. Alrighty. So good to see you guys all again. I'm hoping you had a little bit more time to review the UDC. In this presentation, I really wanted us to kind of hone in on some of the specific changes that have happened and ways that we can move forward and discuss a little bit further. So you're going to see what we have on the agenda today. So quick introduction, project overview and timeline, the background, our approaches, the key changes, and then open it up for questions. So I'm going to kind of skim through this. Again, you know who we are. We're Able City. We really integrate the approach of economic development, architecture, urban planning, and community engagement in any of the projects that we do. And these are the foundations and pillars that we use when we create for our projects, especially when it comes to UDCs. Looking back at who all our team is, you have seen majority of these faces throughout the whole process of this project. And a quick project overview, it's really it started back in January of 2024, and the main source and goal for this UDC is to modernize and consolidate what the city's development regulations are. The UDC needs to be served, that is as a primary tool to guide the growth. We want to improve the development processes. We want to improve the implementations for the city as a long-term vision. So looking at the schedule, what we have here, again, we started back in 2024, where we looked at branding, looking at data collection analysis. We did a workshop then, and then we created a code diagnostics. From this, we came back in the winter of 2025, where we hosted stakeholder meetings, community engagement, and then we started drafting the UDC in the spring of 2025. And along that, with the drafts, we've been submitting them to city staff to review, come back with comment, and then we'll make those edits and revisions and send it back and forth. As you can tell, this was a very long process. There's a lot of information and details that goes into the UDC that just needs to ensure that there's consistency. Now, in the spring, we are hosting our stakeholder meeting tomorrow afternoon. We have had some responses of a few people coming, so we're looking forward to interaction and talking with the stakeholders about the UDC on that, and also posting on the public review and having more interaction from the public. We are going into the adoption process with P&Z, and then going into City Council. Just to look back at some of the community engagement and the work that we have done back in the project kickoff, we started off with some stakeholder meetings, hosting this way to open up the conversation and what is the code and how ways it really implements and creates regulations and develops the community. Some of you were also here for the City Council workshop hosted by David King and Carlos Carinat, where we explained about how this really plays a big part and kind of teaching the ins and outs of development codes. We had community engagement back in the January of 2025, where we hosted an open house, in a sense that was for the public to come in, and we had posters about urban design, we had posters about talking about zoning and how this plays a part for Socorro. We implemented a little game, Lotaria, that we got to play, and it was specifically designed about community development, and it was a fun game. It interacted and opened the conversation a bit about all the staff that plays a part in making a city and the regulations that play. Again, we had stakeholder meetings, so in the top picture, you can really see the various stakeholders that came in from different departments, tech stock. It wasn't just here in Socorro, but around the region as well. We really wanted to implement an open dialogue of what are other communities doing, what are the gas and electric companies helping out on, and how we can really connect with all those. So we're gonna move on to the background of the UDC. So what it really is it regulates, creates these rules and these guidelines on how Socorro should be built. It looks into what the development design can be, how it functions, how it can be built. It directly affects what can and cannot be built in Socorro and how the development should be reviewed. So what we really need to look at, and the reason why we need a UDC, is because usually when we develop a code, it's nice and pretty, it makes sense at the time, but as time moves on, there's amendments that happen, and we start to lose the consistency over time in these changes. And you can kind of see the example here of this really pretty quilt, and then it goes into kind of all this different stuff happening, and it makes it kind of hard to enforce and really use for not only for the public, but also for you here at the staff. So here's the approach. We really need to review and reflect on what is the current goals and policies of what your comp plan had out. The reason why for this UDC, the comp plan had various recommendations, either from goals or policies, and this UDC is here to actually support that and lift that up. So like I mentioned earlier, we conducted those various meetings, the workshops, the engagements. This all plays a part in creating a more cohesive UDC. Again, the main foundation of looking at it is having consistent terminology, consolidating the direct purpose and statements. We wanted to make sure the dimensional standards and there's related graphics that support these. We want to make it very consistent with any graphic themes, clarify any writing styles, more regulation of specific uses in their own articles, so separating them. Sometimes they're clumped together and it doesn't really make sense, so we look at that. And then also just making sure it is arranged logically. So we're looking at your certain code and the specific chapters that we were assigned in the UDC. And if the order is making sense, we kind of rearranged it to make it seem more interesting and more commonly used parts in the beginning. And then afterwards, following, as you can even tell, in the appendix, we have definitions and then also any applications. So those final things being at the bottom. So main thing we have to look at that a UDC does is consolidation, clarity, and usability. Main focus on visual standards and modernization. This is some aspects I wanted to showcase is in this UDC, we try to include some flow charts, tables, to really make it easy of like, okay, these are the responsibilities of city authority and it's right there in plain sight. Yes, it's written out in the text as well, but having a visual sometimes makes it a little bit easier for everyone to just pinpoint exactly who's in charge and what departments or officials they should be talking to or what their role is. So this is just an example of what's in your existing code of ordinance and then how the proposed UDC is looking like. You can tell here that you have your existing chapters. They're all spread out. There's multiple of them. There's certain articles that I had to identify. It got cut off a little bit in here. I do apologize. That last one is for preservation for supplemental regulation districts. So what we really did, and I'm going to showcase in the next few slides, is how it's consolidated either in any of these new UDC chapters, or it's how it's created into its own chapter. So looking at this first one here, you can see how chapter 1 and 2 are put together into that chapter 1 of authority, jurisdiction, and effective dates. Chapter 2, zoning district, really combined a lot of this information that we had. So chapter 1, chapter 26, chapter 46, and the articles that follow through that, as well as for chapter 3, development designs, is also combined some of the information that was in chapter 14, 36, and 46, and the articles in there. And so forth, so chapter 4, combining what was into chapter 46. So the big thing in your existing code, you saw chapter 46 is a big chapter. It had a lot of information, and at times it was kind of hard to find certain stuff, and you had to go back and forth. So we thought it would be best to kind of separate these, especially the topics that were talked about a lot. So when it came to accessory use and accessory structure standards, when it came to the development design standards, we wanted to create their own chapters that really created its own section. This right here, you can see a little bit more. Again, another example for chapter 46 being broken up is chapter 9 for nonconformities. We'll go a little bit more into detail about that as well, because I know some people have concerns about nonconformities and how this plays a part with the UDC. Alrighty, and just looking more into it, we have enforcement, permits and procedures, and then also chapter 13, historic landmarks and Mission Trail Historic District. I'll talk a little bit more. This isn't a fully complete chapter, as you guys are working right now to expand on it, and we did leave with the language to create that openness to once those changes and implementation happens. All right, so we're gonna kind of go through certain goals and policies that were talked about in the comprehensive plan and look at your existing code and then how that has been changed into the UDC. So for historic preservation and Mission Trail districts, the main thing is the UDC wanted to organize the city's approach for historic preservation into a clear framework. So looking at goal 3, it's new development support the historic assets and rural and agricultural character of Socorro. So in your existing code, you are limited into structure. Historic provisions exist, but are pretty limited, and they're not fully integrated into your development review, and kind of lack clear procedures of consistency. So what we really tried to do was we redefined your historic overlay districts. We created a certificate of appropriateness, kind of going into more detail about how that entangles with the historic preservation, and even define the review structure of how, one should go about. And then the foundation for the future ordinance of having, when you guys expand on this topic. Another one, looking at your zoning and modernization, this is from your goal 1 from the comp plan. The Unified Development Code is aligned with the future land use map and comprehensive plan. So you can kind of see here, this is from your existing code. These are your existing zoning districts. And then on your right-hand side is the proposed UDC codes. For the most part, they do line up with one another. We also wanted it to support the future land use map, as you can see here. And you do see new for agriculture and open space and parks. And then just to look right here, as you can see in the comprehensive plan, how these support what is being said over here. Another big thing I wanted to point out is how the permitted use is going to be used and looked at. In your current code, you just have it written out in each zoning district. Sometimes people get a little confused, so we decided to put it all in a table together and separate them by use, and each column is the zoning district, so you know which one is what. It's easily accessible, it's easy to read, and quick to go to, other than trying to find what zoning district would permit what. Another thing we're looking at is expanding the housing options. So looking at policy 5A, which is from your comp plan, it encourages a range of residential housing types, housing sizes, and lot sizes and density. So looking at your existing code of limited housing types, you just have single family, medium density, and then mobile homes, which was RM1 and RM2. So there wasn't any real clear path of those missing middle housing. What the UDC does now is looking at these single family homes, we are expanding the types of homes that are allowed in here. I do just want to explain that I know I have RE and R1 in there. I don't believe RE actually allows for duplexes and triplexes. I just was typing really fast. So it's more going into, but we go into explaining how these uses isn't just in a single zoning district. It is separated and broken down in the code. So it really introduces what is that missing middle housing options and providing for residents that they aren't restricted to only having a large single family in these large acre lots. Another one is agriculture and open space preservation. So in one of your policies in the comp plan, it's update the Unified Development Code to include passive and active open spaces requirements to preserve agriculture areas with focus on retaining connections between agriculture use. So in your existing code, you had limited tools like no dedicated agriculture district, open space addressed indirectly, wasn't so much clear language on that aspect. And then development can occur without structured preservation or any requirements on those aspects. So in the UDC, we introduced the new code for agricultural district. This is really to support your farming and rural land uses, as well as the open space and parks, main reason to protect the natural and recreational areas. We also really introduced cluster development options, so it concentrates development while preserving still the farmland in the area. The main key idea is it's supposed to allow growth while also preserving your agriculture and rural character of Socorro. A next one is development standards and compatibility of design. So one of the policies in the comp is establish a UDC code standards to improve the buffering and transition of higher intensity land use to lower intensity residential land uses. So in the existing code, you have very minimal buffering between uses. The setbacks aren't always aligned with the context. It's limited to landscaping and screening requirements, and compatibility sometimes is between the uses aren't really clearly addressed. So in the UDC, we really try to emphasize a stronger and clearer standards like buffering and screening. You can really see that in the development and design chapter 3. This separates incompatible uses, residential and commercial. This is also shown in chapter 2 of the zoning. Context sensitivity setbacks that reflects the type of development, landscaping requirements, and then compatibility standards. And this is just an example of how it looks in your existing code as of right now, just written out, whereas in the UDC, we do have it written out, but also with the visual of how it could look. Looking at the, it's really hard to see on here, but you have the A, B, C, and it matches up to what aspect the developers should be looking at as they read through the development regulation standards of the table. Another example we just wanted to show in your existing code about fencing, again, written out, but no real visual to explain what's happening here. So in the UDC, there's various examples, as you can see, that explains and visually shows what we are talking about and how the code standard matches these. Another one is off-street parking. We're looking at how, just like how your permitted table, it's written out, but again, having that table separated with the uses, and then looking at what type of parking ratios should be permitted for those. Another thing is our signage. Signage can get a little tricky. There's always, not everyone understands what sign is what, so we really try to break it down with descriptions. the type of regulations, and then also images that support this type of signage. So it's very clear of what this code is representing. The next one we'll talk about is the subdivision and infrastructure improvements. So in the comp plan, one of the policies is to include the creation of the city's UDC for parkland dedications and requirements, the development and dedication of new parks and development that occurs within the community. In your existing ordinance, there's some gaps in the coordination and design, so there's limited requirements for street connectivity, subdivision and zoning is not fully aligned. Infrastructure planning can be fragmented, and then parkland and open spaces are not consistently addressed. So again, in the UDC, we really try to address these with a stronger and more coordinated approach, like improving the street connectivity. This really encourages connected streets, networks, and reduces dead ends. We wanted subdivision and zoning to really align, so this ensures that a lot layouts are matching what the zoning standards are set out in the chapter, and then parkland dedication requirements is included, so that's like providing open spaces and when development occurs. Also infrastructure coordination, so we looked at and we talked with the key stakeholders that supported this with utilities, drainage, and how street plan designs work together. This is just an image I wanted to show about subdivision block measurements. Other than just writing it, we have that visual that really breaks down and shows what is the expectation and regulations for subdivisions. The next one, environmental and resilience standards. So in the comp plan of the policy, it's to establish landscape and tree preservation standards that promote expansive tree canopies and shading, ensuring compatibility and stormwater infrastructure and water resilience. Again, in your current code, it was kind of limited in the environmental integration, so there was environmental standards that addressed separately and it wasn't really consistent. Drainage and stormwater not fully integrated in the development design, and limited requirements for the sustainable and drought-tolerant plants and practices. So in the UDC, we wanted the stormwater and drainage management to be integrated into the site and subdivision designs. We had low impact development practices included in the UDC, and also tree preservation and landscaping that supports the shading, cooling, and environmental quality. We even provided some images and graphics for those as well. And then drought tolerant planning standards that really reflects the regional climate. For utilities and infrastructure, one of the goals was redundant power sources supporting regional and community utility systems that exist, minimizing services and disruptions. So it kind of represents in your existing codes, utility requirements are addressing from multiple sections. The coordination with development's not always there, and you don't get a clear answer. When an applicant comes in, they hear one thing from one department and then go to the city and they understand something else. So we wanted to make sure there was a clear understanding there. Also, the timing for infrastructure improvements were a little bit inconsistent. So in the UDC, we wanted to integrate utility requirements. Again, this is where talking with those stakeholders really played a part, and the emphasis for this chapter here. So developing that development that's driven in infrastructure, it ensures that the services are available for the development to occur. We have clear standards and responsibilities defined, so we know if you're going to be doing this type of project, these are the people, the departments, the people and companies that you should be reaching out to get your information from in this order. And also we wanted to improve long-term planning, so making sure that it's efficient and that we're providing a service with growth management as we move through these projects. So nonconformities. Now, the common concern that we hear with nonconformities is, once we adopt this UDC, does this mean that I'm not permitted, or I can't, my current property is now illegal? That is not true. So we hear, are you guys non-compliant? Is the property owners required to make the changes that are part of the UDC, and will their uses be forced upon them to close? So in the UDC, existing uses may continue. So they become legal non-conforming uses and they're allowed to remain. No immediate changes are required. Properties do not need to require any retrofit to these standards. and then applies to structures and uses that cover buildings, lots, and uses that are established legally. So when changes are triggered for compliance is when there's new developments or major changes to the current standards or the current uses that are happening here. So again, what are nonconformities? They refer to uses, buildings, and structures that were legally established but no longer comply to the current regulations. So they're referred to as nonconformities, and they can continue, and they're lawful to be a use before, since the existing, before this UDC, and continue to go on.
I'm sorry, that's kind of like what we went through with today, right? Where that triplex, to where she can continue to operate and,
No, right, so that was something that was not legal non-conforming. So some of the other, might have been something that was in existence before the city incorporated in '86.
Oh.
So I don't know, you'd have to go back to look at some of the other cases to say, well, they had no proof that they were legal non-conforming, that they had been that way since prior to '86 or '89 when zoning rules were established.
Mhm.
So today's was it's very different than some of the others I think we've had. One pops into my head, he inherited that property from his parents. Wouldn't
Right.
have any information about when that all happened, but was trying to correct something that needed to be corrected.
thank you. Sorry.
And no, of course. And of course, even if the use or the structure itself was, let's say, damaged by any environmental or fire or anything like that, they are permitted to put up the exact same use again. It doesn't have to be conformed to fit what the UDC says there. Let's say they do sell the business though, and there's a new owner, that's where it becomes like, triggers the new UDC. Correct?
And I don't think so, right, unless they're changing it in
Change-
some way
mhm.
or
Exactly.
major improvements.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, so I know even that as the highlights is a lot. Just looking at your guys' role here, the reason why we're having these review sessions and moving on to the adoption, we really need your guys' input about how the proposed UDC is gonna work, especially since you'll be using it. We wanna evaluate any of the policy updates and development standards. Is this realistic? Does this really support or solve, or does this create some more issues that we didn't foresee? And then, so providing any of your feedback or identifying any of those concerns would be really helpful. And then we can move on making those recommendations for City Council as those upcoming meetings are coming up. So, just again, reviewing the timeline and the scheduling. Like I said, tomorrow we have our stakeholder meeting. We are meeting again in your next meeting session. That will be technically your intro to the UDC. And then following that, the final. Interesting.
It's a bird, I think.
Is it?
I think it's stuck.
Well, that's fine. We'll just, right. And then from there, our final recommendation of approval to City Council, and we'll move on for the introduction for there. So I'd like to open up the floor for any comments, questions, or concerns that we can talk about.
Just a question, Troy, on your previous slide. We're in that last phase. We're in the final draft phase.
On April, June, that section where the box, inside the box?
Okay.
Mhm.
And we've already done a campaign to let the draft has already been presented to the public?
Yes, it is online, and we do have flyers available advertising it. Sent out, we just need to get it printed and posted everywhere. But it is available online and ready for public.
And we're gonna go ahead and post on like socials and stuff?
Exactly, and we want to do it especially before you get into your intro.
Got it.
Yes, of course. Any others?
A lot of information.
It is, I know. I don't know if you guys wanted to see some of the images again, if you were curious.
So the 2 weeks ago, or the last meeting that we had, we received the packet, right?
Yes.
And so, are we coming back to review that, or what are we doing with that information? Like, is there any input that's needed from?
From you all, yes. If you could, please read through the document.
And then we're supposed to come and
It is a
send it
draft.
to you, but it wasn't gonna be like a special meeting, or we weren't gonna
No,
do that
not a
here?
joint meeting like
Okay.
we had in the previous.
Yeah, it's
no.
not gonna be like the diagnostics in a sense, or even what we were doing on Fridays. Kind of now, since it is this final draft, not final draft, but it's a completed draft, having your final reviews and any comments, so we could create those revisions before we officially start the adoption process. Hence why we wanted to meet with you guys with these 2 sessions before, just so we give you guys the opportunity to provide that.
Is the goal next meeting to make that recommendation to council?
To the introduction to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We'll provide any feedback and any changes that are different from the final, the draft that we submitted to you all 2 weeks ago. Highlighted here in this presentation, we can share this presentation as well. And then the meeting after that will be your official action and recommendation to take to City Council. So the offer is still open to anybody who would like to sit and review any parts of that ahead of our next meeting.
Yes.
We could also share the input that was provided by the stakeholders and any input that we receive from the public via the online website prior to the introduction draft.
I would love to see that.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So, I'm sorry, you said the offer is still open for a sit-in?
Yeah, with us, but the previous meeting before that, if anybody wanted to schedule some time to just review
I see.
anything, have individual questions, wanted some
one-on-one
more information.
And this right here was, right now, what we saw was not on the package? Or is
No,
just
no, it
updated?
wasn't. But we can share that with you and post it on the public website as well.
So Marianne printed a book for me, so everything was in there. Okay.
Just not this presentation.
No.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
So we can send that presentation, and then I'll let Lorraine know, and she can let you all know when we send out the flyers, and I'll get updates of if there's any comments or anything like that, and we can have that presented beforehand, and then readdress
Yeah, 'cause
then.
I haven't seen it on social media.
We'll take a look
Yeah, I haven't
and
seen it.
follow up with that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, thank you, Ms. Victoria. Now moving on to item 11, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo to adjourn, second by Isidro Torres. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 7:20. Thank you all for coming.